A lot of individuals enter law school with very little idea of how their career is going to look like 5 years down the line. Their idea of a stable career in law develops by attending seminars or by observing their relatives and neighbors who have turned out to be fabulous corporate lawyers or earning amazing salaries. However, if you're somebody who is willing to get into a relaxed and international work standards, or somebody who's looking for easy money without attending the course, an MNC probably be the best option for you. But is it all that best? Today we have somebody who's going to answer that question for us. Please give it up for Amiya Kumar Pati, who has worked as an associate with Capgemini, one of the multinational companies in India, and also he's presently an associate with Link Legal, which is a law firm. Amiya, we are very, very delighted to have you on our show and An Hour With LawSikho.
Thank you so much, Aditya.
It's an
I
absolute pleasure to have you. I know for a fact that you are a very talented individual and you're somebody who has worked throughout his college to make himself what he is today. And thus, I'm sure you'll be an inspiration to all our viewers today.
thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Amya. So I know you personally, but a lot of our viewers don't. So why don't you start by telling us something about yourself?
Hi guys. Actually, I am Amiya Kumar Pati. My name is like quite hard to pronounce, no doubt initially. But then again, I have come out all the way from a very small city named Rourkela. It's a steel industrial township in the state of Orissa. I had always dreamt of becoming a lawyer from the very initial days of my life. But then again, I ended up in an engineering college initially, a very premier educational institution in the state of Orissa, where I didn't stop following my dreams. And at my second year, I finally chose to become a lawyer. I gave the CLAT exam, went out to National Law University Visakhapatnam. Initially, going through all those tough days, convincing your parents and all those peers and seniors, it was a tough job. But yes, finally, I came all the way down from Rourkela to Visakhapatnam. That is the city of destiny. I'm a lawyer, and here what I am today in front of you.
Wow, yeah, that's a beautiful story. Why don't you tell us a little about your college life? What all did you do to get into a position where you can bag a role with MNCs, which generally do not prefer hiring freshers? I know for a fact that most of the MNCs are looking forward to hire people with minimum 2 years of experience. And at that point of time, you managed to get into the compliance team of one of the multinational companies of India. So, how was your college life like? What all did you do in your college to make your CV strong enough to compete with people who were already experienced?
To be very honest with you, Aditya, the college life was a really a roller coaster ride for me initially, because coming out all the way from a very small city to such challenges which are being faced by the law students in a national law university, it was really tough to go throughout all those things in those 5 years. Initially, it was really tough for me to adapt to those conditions has been set out by the college authorities, or rather, you could say the challenging environment being created by the top students who are getting enrolled to such universities. So my college days started off with having some real good professors who did not budge me throughout my whole career in the 5 years, in those 5 years in the university. They helped me throughout my whole curriculum, and I got some real good friends over in my university. So I really look forward to be with them throughout my life altogether. And going through my college life, professionally speaking, then I try the first and the foremost thing to make out your CV as a strong CV. The first thing you have to look upon is your CGPA. That is the grade point average we say. That is the percentage, obviously. So if you want to have a good CV, first of all, you should have a strong CGPA, because most of the MNCs, they always look out for a strong CGPA if the candidate has got a good CGPA. Because when you go out for a MNC for a job, nobody has got time to look through your CV day in and day out. You will only see the first thing. The first important criteria is your CGPA. Through your CGPA, they will give you a first judgmental look whether this guy can be adopted to our organization or not. So first and the foremost thing, to get a good CGPA, you have to have a good hold on the subjects. Now, in those 5 years with 10 semesters, and in most national law schools and other good law schools, they have trimester system. So in this semester system as well as the trimester system, you will be getting your hands on with different kind of laws and legislations currently prevalent throughout India. So if you go through all those legislation line by line, word by word, from top to bottom, obviously you will be getting a strong word and resulting to a good CGPA. Now, as you see, the whole legal structure, the whole legal curriculum is like changing like anything right now. Every single day there is a new challenge coming up, not only for the universities but for the lawyers who have opened up their law firms or who are practicing as advocates or even who have gone up to such MNCs. So to get through those challenges, the MNCs or even the law firms, they are not only looking for a candidate who has got a strong CGPA. They are looking out for something else, whether the candidate has achieved something else in all those 5 years, whether the person has moot courts which he has attended, whether he has got some accolades in the moot court events, or rather in the presentation, or whether the student has a publication in his name or not. Because if you go for publications, for example, the recruiter sees the drafting skills of you basically, how good you are in drafting. Because at the end of the day, whether you end up with an MNC or become an advocate practicing in a high court or district court or even get into a law firm, the first and the foremost thing is how you draft, from a basic rental agreement to complex merger and acquisition transactional agreements. Everything depends on your writing skills. Secondly, how good you are as a public speaker. For that, I went out to seminars, presentations, because I always had this fear, this stage fear from the very initial days. And to kill that, I had to face that. That was my theory. I went out to different universities, attending seminars. And the best and the foremost thing while attending seminars is you take a particular topic from a particular law. You do a hell lot of research, getting through the basic intricacies of those legislations or or that topic, specific topic. Now, when you get a hands-on on that topic, you feel free to share your thoughts in the presentation, in the seminar. You are standing on the podium, looking out around hundreds of thousands of people, speaking out your thoughts, and getting into an interactive discussion. Now that kills your stage fear. Now that helps you become a good public speaker. Second thing, I went to like somewhere around 6 moot court events where my team basically, we won the best memorial award for Army Institute of Law, the 6th checkmate Army Institute of Law. Then I got the best speaker award in the 24th Bar Council of India moot court competition. Now everything was not easy for me initially. When I joined college, I went for the first moot court. I couldn't even like go beyond the quarter-final rounds. It was very disheartening for me. But I didn't take it as a failure initially. I took it as a challenge. Okay, fine. In the first event, I couldn't go to the quarterfinals. Second event, I should try at least to go beyond the quarterfinals, to stand up to something which I had always dreamt of. So in the second event, we went to Army Institute of Law. We got the best memorial award. So from that aspect, what I could figure out that for preparing that memorial, for preparing that written submission, I had to burn the midnight oil throughout the month. I didn't sleep even for like 2 to 3 hours a day. Now that helped me to get a strong hold on the moot problem, the legislations which were like applicable all over the problem. And that gave me a confidence. Okay, fine. At the end of the day, I know something. I know this law specifically. If anyone is going to ask me anything, I can speak about it. So in short, my college life was a roller coaster ride, no doubt. But then again, I learned a lot from this college, and my friends really helped me. My faculties always covered me up. And at the end of the day, yeah, I'm a like lawyer out of it right now after 5 years of stress. To be very honest.
All right. So Amiya, can you please put your earphones on? My voice will echo otherwise.
Just a moment. Just give me a moment.
In the meantime, guys, our questions are open. You are more than welcome to post your queries for Amya. He's more than willing to answer your questions. And yeah, all right. So Amya, you spoke about an overall development of an individual throughout the college life, right? From
Right.
ensuring that the marks, the CGPA are well scored, to attending moot courts, to doing research papers, to getting over your fears at various points of time. You did work in a certain way to make your CV look like what it looks like today, right?
Yeah. Right.
Uh, So tell us something. While you were working through all of this, was getting into an MNC your idea? Where did you see yourself in the college? Did you think that, okay, now I'm going to get into an MNC, or you thought, okay, no, I think law firm is the place to be? What was your idea while you were working in school, in your college, law school, while preparing for the big bad world out there?
To be very honest with you, Aditya, in the initial days, I had never this dream of getting into MNC. Obviously, it is a dream for many people out there. But then again, initially, I never had this idea of what a MNC like works like, what a law firm works like initially. Because if you see the whole structure of a law school, a student in the very first year and the second year, they have to go through the NGO's internship. They have to go to work under a senior advocate or an advocate in a high court. But then again, during my third year, I got a chance to work with the MNCs. One of the biggest MNC, that is Rourkela Steel Plant, which comes under the tutelage of Steel Authority of India Limited. They had a huge team of like lawyers in and around Rourkela Steel Plant. I got to know how a company works over there because it was totally different from what I learned under an NGO and under a senior advocate. So while going through that work structure, the culture in an MNC, that really inspired me quite a lot. And I tried to do each and every single thing which was available to me during my college days. I never wanted to miss out on anything. Never want without any expectation whether I'll land up in an MNC or a law firm. Rather, I just wanted to enjoy those 5 years to get all the opportunities in my bag, so that after 5 years I should not regret that. Oh God, I should have done this or I should have done that. So every single thing which you do, starting from a MUN or a presentation or even a moot court competition, it gives you a learning experience. And then every experience matters a lot because you never know what you have read in your second year for a presentation may crop up in your MNC, and you will be the one knowing every single thing about it. You just have to brush up and you are standing there, give the legal opinion to your clients. Now that helped me a lot. And yeah, I always dreamt of getting into a law firm initially, but then again, MNC also did attract me a lot because if you see MNCs give you a balanced work life and personal life initially. So I ended up with one of the biggest MNCs in India, and I really enjoyed my stint with the MNC, even if it was for a quite short period.
All right. Amit, tell us about your way of approaching the MNC while you were in college. How, because I remember during the final days of college, you got the offer letter. So,
Correct.
how did you go ahead approaching the MNC? How did you approach them? How did you? What were the rounds of interviews? What did they give you any task? How was the entire application procedure right from day one to you getting the offer letter was?
So basically, if you want, if you like, if you have an idea, basic idea of what an MNC works on, or basic list of the MNCs where you want to work, you have to every single day. I'll rather use this word. Every single day, you have to browse through their websites, through their career pages, and look into whether they have a vacancy or not. Because everyone has a myth that corporates do not hire freshers. Everyone has this myth. But now, due to the changing legal circumstances, even a fresher is someone who can work like anything. They can give their whole 100% of work to help the law firm or even help the MNC to grow to a certain extent. So now the MNCs are not pushing themselves back from hiring a fresher. So every single day, you have to look out for those pages, the career pages basically, for all those companies where you want to work or which or the details which you know about. From those career pages, you have to apply. Now they have a very systematic application procedure. When you click on those links, they will take you to a different tab where you have to put in all your personal details, professional details, starting from the CGPA to your achievements and everything as such. Basic general application process. After that, if you get selected from the basic application process, you will get a call from the HR first round. Now the HR basically discuss about what is your aim, what is the approach, and they will basically ask you about a suitable time for an interview with the legal director or the group legal head or the managers, according to their regime, according to their whole standardized procedure. So when I applied for Capgemini, I went through their career pages and I applied through one of the links which showed that they are hiring a associate in their compliance team. I applied through that, and then I got a call from the HR after like 15 or 20 days, because as that is a very big MNC, so they may have been getting a lot of applications, and to browse through them, shortlist from them, that's a like Herculean task for them, no doubt. So When you're applying for such a position, you have to have patience in you to wait for like 15 days, 20 days, or even a month without letting your hopes go down. After that, the HR called me up. The HR asked me all these questions and asked me for a favorable time when I will be available for a video call, video interview with one of the legal directors they have in Bangalore. So I fixed up an interview. They fixed up an interview with me, and I had a 1 hour of interview with the legal director where they basically asked me about my whole college life, how it was. They had my CV in front of them. So when you go out for an interview, one of the basic approach is that whatever you have mentioned in your CV, starting from your name till the last letter you have mentioned, you should be knowing each and every single thing. For example, if you have mentioned that you have worked on the insolvency and bankruptcy code, for example, then you should be knowing in and out of insolvency bankruptcy code. It's not like you'll be remembering all the sections throughout. But then again, you should be knowing the basic structure of the whole legislation, why it has been enacted, what is the structure, all those basic things. Because even the recruiter is not going to ask you all those sections, or out of the blue, he won't be asking anything very tough for you. They will be just trying to know what you know about that legislation, what you have worked on, and whether what you have worked on, do you have any hands-on knowledge on that or not. So whatever you mention in your CV, be sure that you know everything about it. Secondly, the interview process was quite long, 1.5 hours it went on. And as it is a compliance team, the whole compliance team of Capgemini, most of the questions were on contracts. So when you're applying for an in-house job, you should be very thorough with contracts, Indian Contract Act 1872. Starting from the very preamble of the Constitution till the last page of the Constitution, till the last section of the Indian Contract Act's Constitution, basically, to be honest, you should be knowing every single thing, because the recruiter can ask you anything and everything about contracts, because that is what you are going to do in that MNC, in that company. You'll be going to review the contracts, you are going to draft certain contracts, so you should have hands-on knowledge on those contracts. Secondly, after this interview with the legal director, there was a second round of interview. That was the first technical round. The second technical round was with my managers. There were two managers in my company who took my interview one by one. It went on for somewhere around 2 to 3 hours, 3 hours to be specific. That was also based on the contractual aspects. They asked me very basic generic questions, no doubt, but then again, they never wanted to know the generic provisions of those of that contract act. Rather, they just wanted to know how much I know about contract act. What is my analysis? They will be putting some real life questions in front of you, ask you to apply the contractual provisions, the contract act, or any other act as such, may it be Companies Act, may it be Specific Relief Act, may it be Limitation Act for that matter, to apply to those real life scenario and give them a solution on hand on that specific point. You won't be getting time for that. You should be thorough with those provisions, with the whole structure of the act. So after this round, I had to wait for somewhere around 45 days, I guess, 1.5 months. And after that, and for that, you have to have this patience in you. You'll be going through that stigma kind of a thing that, okay, fine, after 2 months, I'm getting out of this college. What next? So that thing bites you every night. You won't be getting proper sleep that night, every night. But then again, you have to have that patience with you. After 45 days, I got this confirmation, and there was again a call scheduled with the HR for the compensation that they are offering and all those terms and conditions which will be put in the offer letter, a basic overview. And after my graduation, after 7 days, I got inducted into Capgemini, and then that was the rest of the thing is a history for me.
All right. Amiya, you correctly pointed out that even though these are MNCs, these
Right.
companies get a lot of applications from the law students across the country.
Right.
My question is, how much does a recommendation help? Because as far as I know, a lot of people, in general, they use a recommendation to get at least to the first level of interview. How much does that help? And what kind of recommendation can be used in case if you want to get into an MNC?
No doubt, recommendation helps a lot. It may come from your own vice chancellor or a registrar, starting from vice chancellors and registrars to certain people who are the clients of such big companies. Because there are people who are clients of such big MNCs. A recommendation letter from them takes you to a whole different level. You don't have to wait for so many days. And no doubt the interview won't be a cakewalk for you. But then again, there is a slight possibility that you may get inducted into this MNC. And there are many students out there, many people out there who don't have such recommendations. So there's nothing to lose out because I didn't have any recommendations from my side. I went out there raw with my CV, stood up there with all my expectations, with all my knowledge I had gathered in those 5 years, and that helped me out. But yes, recommendation will make things easy initially, but in the interview, you have to be what you are.
Okay. All right. Okay, Amya. I have a question right now from Kunal Chandrianu.
Okay.
This question, always like a little, not very much related to the compliance team, but however, I'm still taking it in case if you can help him. The
Okay.
question is, for an MNC which is into manufacturing and provision of defense products, how should a student go for the beginning internships, and what should be the core areas of law he or she needs to study? Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah, please do that once again.
For an MNC which is into manufacturing and provision of defense products.
Okay.
All right. He's asking what kind of internships should one take and what kind of law areas should one delve into.
Okay, that's a really good question because students nowadays, if you see, most of them are inclined towards corporate. No doubt, Mr. Kunal is inclined towards a very different whole regime, and that's a really good start. So to go through such internships, one student has to have good hold on Arms Act, Explosives Act, and all those legislations which cover such organizations. Now we have like central government organizations such as DRDO, Indian Ordnance Factory. Such organizations do give internships to students. If you browse through websites like iPleaders, no doubt, iPleaders and LawSikho, they come up with such notifications of internships being offered by such central government organizations. Because now recently I was going through the website of iPleaders as well as LawSikho. I could figure out that Lok Sabha is being given internships to students. Now, similarly, these central government organizations mostly they do not like appreciate applications directly sent to them. Mostly they come up with internship opportunities. But secondly, if you have some recommendation or any contacts of unofficially, I'll use this word contacts, then you can easily get through such organizations. Intern there, have a good hold about the whole mechanism, how Indian Ordnance Factory works, how the central legislation is applicable to them. If you go through the Arms Act and the Explosive Acts, then there's a lot you have to learn through it. How the FDI is being governed, for example, how FDI is being governed on Indian defense sector. Now it has been increased to 71%, as much as I know. Even in the Arms Act and the Explosives Act, if you go through that act, there are different mechanisms where the, for example, the amount of explosives you can manufacture under the central government mechanism, under the central government regime, they will be expecting such questions. Like you should be expecting such questions from them, and they will be expecting the answers from you. Because during such internships, you are not going to visit the courts or the tribunals. You'll be basically going through those documents, those executive documents or the concessionaire agreements or transactional documents, which such central organizations have entered into with different private players. Because I'm sure you must be knowing that Indian Ordnance Factory or the DRDO is not the sole player in the defense sector. There are many private players. And the whole structure, if you see, starts with a contract. For that, you have to be very thorough with the Indian contract. And going back to the same provision, you have to review those contracts, see the loopholes, see the strong points which will be applicable for the company, for the central organization. And to start up with this, you have to go through those websites, mostly DRDO or ISRO or even Bharat Engineering Limited or Bharat Heavy Engineering Limited, BHEL and BEL. They are also into such mechanism where they are also producing fighter planes and spare parts for those fighter jets. So this thing will definitely help you, Kunal, and you have to be very thorough with the Indian Arms Act and Explosive Act, and furthermore the Indian Contract Act. That will help you a lot going forward.
Wow, yeah, that was quite a descriptive answer. I hope Kunal, your question is answered. Yeah, I was doing this research for a specific article that I was writing, and the article
Mm-hmm.
was about how to get into a compliance team of an MNC.
Right.
From which I approached a lot of HRs, and then a lot of HRs said that the kind of expectation setting that these fresh law graduates have, that is one of the major problems for them to recruit them. Now, as when you went into an MNC, I'm sure you must have certain kind of expectations as well. How much were they
Exactly.
fulfilled, and how much were they shattered, and how did you cope up with the whole situation?
The answer may be hard for most of the aspirants over there who are in this call. I had huge expectations from an MNC because I have friends who have done their engineering. They have ended up with like big MNCs, namely Dell or Capgemini or HP for that matter. The legal team is a whole ball game altogether. You cannot expect a Saturday or a Sunday, the so-called weekends, when you get into a legal team of a MNC. Now you'll be seeing that your friends who have done engineering or who are MBA graduates, they are getting their so-called weekends on Saturdays, but you will be ending up working with your team even on a Saturday, on a Sunday, even till late nights. Because this whole legal structure, the whole legal regime is quite different in an MNC. I expected that working with the MNC will be a cakewalk altogether. Coming out of 5 years of such stressful life in the university, going through MNC, getting a good paycheck, I'll be enjoying my life throughout in the city of Bangalore. But that was a far dream out for me. Initially, it was good because you're a fresher, right? So it was like initially they will treat you very well, no doubt. But then again, when the work mounts pressure on you, you will be like put into a grill like anything. You will be going through the heat. You will be working throughout the night, burning the midnight oil, and all your expectations prior to your college days will get shattered. To be very honest, and and initially things will not be easy for you because you're coming out of a university. There is a huge gap between the days you have spent in university as well as the days you'll be spending with the MNC. Because in university, no one is expecting anything out from you. No one is paying you to study. You are paying the university to study. Here, the MNC is paying you to extract something out from you. So that's a whole ball game altogether. So you have to be very much ready for this pressure. You have to be on your toes to accept this pressure, accept the reality, and go with the flow. That's all I can say.
All right, Ramya. I think that was very much necessary. Also, while I was researching for this article,
Mhm.
and because I've also worked in the compliance team of an MNC,
Right.
there's an expectation that MNCs pay much more than the regular law firms do. However, the harsh reality is that MNCs pay roughly the same as a mid-tier law firm would on a good level.
Right.
What would you like to comment on that? I mean, my question is basically very simple. Do the MNCs pay as they promise, or is there a difference in the pay scale because of the CTC format? What would you like to say about that?
The MNCs do pay quite a bit. I can say that they do not pay as the promise. As you see the whole structure outside when you are in a college, that MNCs with the big names like HP or Dell, they are like biggest MNCs currently operating out of India. So there is an expectation that they will be paying fat paychecks for you. But you should understand, like the students should understand that we are freshers out of college without any experience, without any hands-on experience of what kind of work is being done in an MNC. So expecting a fatter paycheck out from an MNC from the very first day of your career is not feasible, or it's not expected out of it. Secondly, the MNCs do not pay that much, to be very honest, because if you see the whole CTC, that seems lucrative. But when it comes from the deductions, everything goes through the deduction process: income tax, provident fund, GPF, EPF, all those things. And after that, what the net salary you get, the net proper salary you get, that is not that much as expected. Whereas, yes, as you rightly pointed out, the salary structure of a big MNC is quite similar to that of a mid-tier law firm. But if you compare the work structure of a MNC with that of a mid-tier law firm, there is always a work life and a professional life balance in MNC rather than working for a mid-tier law firm, no doubt. That is only a plus point, advantage. But the pay, yes, they do pay less initially. But going up the ladder after 5 years or after 7 years, if you have the patience to go with that meager income, which you'll be getting throughout MNC, no doubt your package will increase. And definitely you'll be getting a bigger paycheck at the end of the day.
Amya, we had Mona with us a couple of days ago who's worked with Parekh and Company, a prominent
Okay.
litigation law firm. She
Right.
told us that law firms when they're hiring freshers or when they're hiring somebody with zero or no litigation experience or zero or no
Mhm.
experience, either they grill them a lot,
Right.
Or else it's just that they check your communication skills and they just let go of you. And they just take you in and train you eventually. The question is from Barun Sharma, who wants to know that how
Hmm.
much does the lack of achievements or highlights hurt one's chances in an MNC or a law firm? That is how much, if your CV is not as attractive as probably yours is, how do you cope up for it, or how much does it hurt when you're applying for a job at an MNC?
To be very honest with this question, if you see, there's a lot of challenges, lot of competition happening outside this world, in the legal sector, to be specific. So if you're standing out without an accomplished CV, because accomplished CV for me is something different, for you is something different, and for a recruiter sitting in an MNC is quite different. So in an MNC, a recruiter would like to see your CV, which will be full of accomplishments, no doubt, because they won't be settling for less because they have thousands of applications, thousands of students waiting to get into that position. So obviously they will be judging you through your accomplishments, what you have done apart from your studies, apart from the CGPA, whether have you like got something out from the moot court competition, whether you have done something in your college, whether you have organized something in your college to be specific, whether you have been to a presentation or whether you have a publication, because publication, as I said, your writing skills will improve and the drafting skills will definitely improve, and that's what a MNC see in you. Because tomorrow, after a certain point of time, we'll be going to draft certain contracts. So obviously, yes, MNCs do see a lot of accomplishments, whether you have accomplished those things or not, whether you have a full-fledged CV for them to show on a platter or not. Suppose second on a second thought, if you don't have such accomplishments, which is not necessary outside in the world to be specific, it's necessary for MNC. But if you go for mid-tier law firms, they will definitely see your practical aspect of law. They will interview you. They will get into an interview with you. They would like to know whether what you know about the specifics of the law. They won't be looking out for such a accomplished CV. Rather, they would like to know your analysis on law. But yes, if you want to like, go for an MNC, you have to work from the very first day of your college life to get such a structured CV out of from those 5 years and apply to such MNCs, because MNCs, yes, they expect a lot from you, and that is the harsh truth, I can say.
All right, all right. Amiya, you talked about that MNCs generally also. I think also in addition to what you said, MNCs basically do not have, or the HRs of an MNC probably do not have enough legal experience to judge you on your practical knowledge, right?
Right.
Because they are generally judging you on the things that they regularly judge any other person with any other vocation on, and thus for them achievements matter. So that
Right.
is probably one thing. But having said all of this, Prakash Seth wants to know that given the fact that they're judging you on your accomplishments, what are the other criteria on which MNCs judge you and possibly induct you? How much value is given to GPA and internships?
GPA does help a lot because, as I said, that is the first thing which a recruiter will see in your CV. Because going through a CV is not a productive way for those recruiters, because they have very less amount of time with them in their hands, because they have to go through thousands of such CVs. So first thing and the foremost thing, they will try to judge you as based on your CGPA. That helps a lot. That is the first judgment criteria to judge you on the face of it, prima facie. Secondly, they will go through the accomplishments, no doubt. Thirdly, if you have internships with such organizations, suppose if I'm getting the names right, if it is Capgemini or such like-kinded organizations, maybe Accenture or Cognizant, if you have interned at such places, then obviously the recruiter will have a thought that, okay, fine, this person knows something about our work structure, because all these companies have a similar work structure. I won't say the same, rather I'll use the word similar. So they will be having this expectation, okay, fine, we don't have to train him to such a level that from such a level that where he has to start from zero and we have to take him up to 100. Rather, he'll be starting from somewhere mid of 100, and we'll be taking him up to the next level. So yes, internships at such organizations will definitely help. And foremost thing, if you are applying for MNC, you should be very good in public speaking, because every single day you will be like talking with clients, not only restricting to India. You'll be having clients from the United States, from European Union, from Finland, from Iceland, from any such parts of the country or outside the country. you should be very confident about what you're saying, not only on legal aspects, but on financial aspects, on commercial aspects, because all those contracts are based on commercials. And you should be on your toes when you're talking with those clients. So basically, you should be very good at public speaking, and you shouldn't have that stage fear kind of a thing. Because every single day you'll be getting into calls with such legal heads where they'll be expecting a legal opinion from you. And you should be upfront with what you are saying, what you are giving, what opinion you are giving. So all these things matters a lot, no doubt.
So, are you trying to suggest that communication skills hold a good chance of you to get into an MNC even if you probably do not have as great a CV?
Prime FSI, yes, it does. But then again, it depends on the recruiters. Because as a recruiter, what I may have understanding about the CV that may be different from you as a recruiter having an understanding of the CV. Because there are recruiters who give more importance to public speaking, no doubt. But there are recruiters out there in such companies, such MNCs, who give like preference to the CVs, to the accomplishments. So it depends on case to case basis. So on generic status, I cannot comment on this as to what kind of a CV should be sent to such companies. But then again, yes, there are different criteria set out by different recruiters, not by the companies, because the companies only set out the what I can say, the induction criteria. But the whole level of interviews and discussions, it's only dependent on the legal director or the legal head of the company, who may change from time to time, and they have a different mindset altogether.
All right. I want to talk about two scenarios right now. Okay.
Hmm.
So basically, for all of you who don't know it yet, I have worked for Cognizant in the same compliance team. So while I appear for two places, I appear for interview at two places. I appear at Cognizant and I appear at PwC, which is one of the big four accounting firms.
Right.
Both compliance teams. Now, when it happened at Cognizant, the hierarchy was an HR taking the interview first, then it going to the legal manager, then it going to the legal director, and that's how the hierarchy was. So in this circumstance, wherein my CV stood out and my achievements stood out, on the contrary, when it happened at PwC, it came down from legal director to legal managers to legal director to the HR. So basically, the selection was done by the legal director and the legal manager, and HR just had to do a formality, right?
Right.
Wherein my knowledge was more important than what my CV was, not that my CV was any bad. So, in these two circumstances, how should one present the CV so that at any point of time, whether it's through the HR or whether it's coming through the legal manager, the CV is selected irrespective of the fact whether your CV is probably as great or not so great. So, what are the important factors that your CV must have irrespective of any circumstance?
So basically, before diverging into this aspect, as you rightly said, that HRs nowadays do not have any legal knowledge about it. Most of the HRs are going through the applications and like going through prime FSI on the face of it, but they do not have the technicalities as to how should they judge on a CV. So, if possible, while applying through a portal of some MNCs, if you get a confirmation, or even if you get a contact number of such HR, try to get the contact number of the legal director or the legal manager from that HR, and try to get the contact number as well as the email ID, so that you can shoot off your CV along with the cover letter to that specific legal person who can judge you on a better level. Secondly, CVs, as you said, it is one of the most important thing which you can carve out of all those 5 years. So going through the selection procedure of an MNC, it's really a tough process, no doubt. So as you rightly pointed out also that there are different mechanisms all throughout for different MNCs. As you said, PwC started with legal managers and directors, and again at the end of the day, your CV and the whole selection procedure went to the HR. But it was whole a different level for you while you were applying for Cognizant. Now, keeping in view all these factors, if you are going ahead with your CV be should be very specific on what you want to do. If you a recruiter sees through your CV, goes through your CV, he should have a clear idea as to whether this person should fit into our organization or not. Suppose if you are only specific about your CGPA, now that won't give the recruiter a clear picture whether this person is social or not, whether this person can interact with people or not, whether this person has a good public speaking ability or not, whether this person can knows much about the specific realm of law or not. So specifically, if you are applying for MNC, try to show as much as presentations, try to go for such presentations as much as you can do. Such conferences where you can really go and speak all together, try to go through such aspect of law, try to choose such topics which delve in and around contract or contract act. Or suppose if you're specifically going out for companies like PwC or accountancy firms, or rather EY to be specific, you should be really good with the accounting standards or the accounting subjects. Because at the end of the day, you will be going through the tax regime, the tax obligations to be filed by the company, the accounting standards which has been set by the ICAI. All those things may be asked by the person, by the recruiter in your interview. And if you can show those things in your CV that yes, I have presented a paper on this specific aspect on tax regime, international tax regime, for example. If you can show that in your CV, that is a plus point. That is a cookie point you are getting. Now that will really help you going forward with the initial selection of your CV. So that really matters. How good your CV is, that's a different ball game altogether. But then again, if you can show some specifics in your CV that yes, I have done this, and for this only I am fit, I am suiting your organization, I'm fit to be a part of your organization. That will definitely help you to get your application shortlisted at the first place. Secondly, while going for the interview, you have to very well prepared with what you see, what you have mentioned in your CV. Whether it is taxation, whether it is accountancy, whether it is contract, whether it is a presentation, because they will hit you hard with that subject. They will hit you with all the angles they have got. They will try to throw all the bombs on you at a very specific point. So you have to be very able to dodge those things. So yes, so try to maximize your CV to such an extent where those specifics can be seen by the recruiter at the very first instance.
All right. Thanks, Amiya. We have a question from Hopeful Ghosh.
Okay.
Does having higher qualifications and enhance your CV in any way? Is it necessary to have an LLM in any specific field to increase your chances of getting into an MNC?
See,
Does LLM really help?
basically, as per my experience of like somewhere around half a year in a MNC and mostly half a year in a law firm, what I have seen, MNCs doesn't look out for LLM candidates much, because even if you go for an LLM, you are going to spend a lot of money. First of all, secondly, someone else who will be like graduating the same year as you did, suppose he'll be ending up with some MNC, maybe a small MNC, no doubt. But then again, when you are going for an LLM, you are spending some money, you are gaining higher knowledge, no doubt at all. But you are spending 1 year with it. And that person, the second person who has been inducted to a mid-tier MNC, got 1 year of real hands-on experience. Now, just as a recruiter, now hopeful ghost to Mr. Hopeful Ghost, no doubt, if you as a recruiter were given an opportunity to hire a person who has done an LLM without any hands-on experience on the specifics of what your MNC is working, and the other person who doesn't have an LLM but he knows how MNC works, what kind of legal aspect they have to deal with, how to talk with a client, what legal opinion they have to give, and what is the day-to-day work they are going to do. Now, which candidate will you consider to take into your MNC? Now, from my perspective, from my point of view, it is totally clear that I'll like vouch for that candidate who knows something which he has learned from that mid-tier MNC, so that I don't have to use my resources, my finances, my time to teach that young candidate about the specifics of my MNC. If he's ready with the work, if he knows something about the work, then it will be a cakewalk for the recruiter, for me, to teach him the basic things which is being run through this MNC. I don't have to teach him from the very start, from the very zero. So obviously, MNC will help, no doubt. But then again, initially, if you are trying for an MNC, maybe from the very initial year, it may not help. Yeah, but going down the line after 5 years of experience, when you're going up the ladder, if you get a LLM with the experience which you have, like suppose after working for 5 years in MNC, you're going out to some foreign institution to get your LLM. Now that LLM will be considered as very valuable because you got that experience for 5 years and you applied that experience with your LLM degree. Now that will, when you come back to India, or even if you apply for a job in an MNC in any foreign country, they will see that, okay, fine, this guy has done something. He has like got 5 years of experience and applied the same thing throughout his LLM. Now we have a good catch right now because he is a complete package, someone with real industrial experience plus higher knowledge. So we'll definitely take him. That is the basic difference. So LLM is not a not a no from my side, but yes, that can be given certain time. As of now, real experience is what everyone needs. Industrial experience.
I think that pretty much answers hopeful Ghosh your question. Amina, tell us about the kind of work you did because a lot of people assume that in MNCs people don't really do anything. They just go, they have a checklist, they just keep in the checks and they go back home. So tell us what kind of work it was. Was it taxing or was it as relaxed as it sounds like?
Relaxation was a myth, to be very honest, when I was with this MNC, because from the outer perspective of this world, because most of the people do judge people who go to MNC, because if you see, MNCs don't offer more legal as like more legal jobs, to be very specific. They have quite a small legal team. Whereas if you see the whole engineering team or the management team, they're quite huge. Now, most of the people think that, okay, fine, the lawyers are working like engineers, enjoying their weekends, enjoying their whole day out. But when you get into the legal structure of the legal regime of an MNC, you have to go through all those legal mechanism which is being currently handled by the MNC which employs somewhere around say 20,000 people. So you have to have all those. To start with the specifics, you have to have all those employment agreements of those 20,000 people. You will be having all those non-disclosure agreements, all those commercials. Now, secondly, it's not only restricted to the employees. Now, suppose if a company is entering into a contract with some third party, you have to go through the whole contract. It's not like a 10-pager contract or a 7-pager contract. It's like it runs up to hundreds and thousands of pages, and you cannot miss a line. You have to go through it word by word, line by line, and it takes a lot of time, and you won't be given time to do that. The deadlines are really short, and you have to work like anything. So it's not as easy like just to like check through, like just to tick down those checklists, don't do anything kind of thing. Because you have to work hard, you have to deliver those deliverables within a very prefixed timeline, give certain legal opinions to clients who know nothing about law. You have to like be a babysitter kind of a thing, trying to explain them, okay, fine, this is what the law is. So you should know. You should be very specific about it. So it is a very tedious job, no doubt. But yes, if you compare it with a law firm, then obviously there is a work-life, personal life balance. There is a timeline set for it. After 6 or 7 in the evening, you do not have to work if there is no urgent deliverable. But when it comes to law firms, there's no time structure. You have to work throughout the night. You have to work 24 hours. So there is a bit of flexibility when you work with MNC, but not that much of flexibility where you don't have to do anything. Because at the end of the day, they are only paying for your services. And if you're not giving them the services, you won't get paid, right?
Perfect. Amir, we have a question from Prakash Seth, which who
Yeah.
wants to know what is a suitable way to apply for an internship at an MNC and what are the chances of a third year law student getting selected?
Yeah, internships basically are not being directly offered by these MNCs, but there are certain MNCs who offer internships through their career pages, through their portals. They come out with internship experiences, internship applications. They accept internship applications such as EY, for example, Ernst and Young. They do accept internship applications, but directly in an MNC where I have worked, they never accepted interns. They never had this policy of accepting interns. They want to accept interns, they want to induct interns to let them work and know the whole work structure. But as of now, most of the MNCs, mostly in the IT sector to be specific, they do not have this option of getting interns. But yes, there are different MNCs out of the IT sector. They do accept internships. For that, you have to directly apply to the legal division or to the HR, for which you can get the details after going through their website or even after going through their offices. You can drop into their offices, leave your CVs with the HR, come back. Because there is no
I,
structurized thing.
I think in addition to that, Prakash, I've been fortunate enough to intern with an MNC called Hindustan Times Media Limited. You can directly apply to their HR and also approach the manager on LinkedIn and talk to him personally. And he will probably, if you're good enough, he'll refer you to the HR team and you will get a call from there. You can look for Soumya Prakash, who basically looks at the legal internship for the legal team, basically. And yes, they take in the third year law students. I did it in my third year. You can also apply to Hindustan Unilever. They sort of take legal interns and they also do it in their third and the fourth year, so you can apply there as well. There is a little bit of problem if you apply in the tech companies, that is companies like Cognizant, Accenture, Capgemini for that matter. The tech companies don't really hire legal interns because the kind of work that they do is highly confidential. However, if you're looking forward to do work into contracts and a lot of drafting, then Hindustan Times and as well as HUL can be good options for you. I hope that answers your question. All right, Ramya, we are moving on to the absolute last segment, and this is going to get a little difficult for you now.
Okay.
My question is, and this is also coming from one of our viewers. His name is Bhavesh, and he wants to know that how different was your experience of working in an MNC to a law firm?
It was really a very tough way for me from coming out from an MNC to a law firm, because in an MNC, as I said, there is a perfect balance between your work life and your profession and your personal life. But when you get into a law firm, then you have to run through the timelines dedicated by your partner, by the law firm, because the clients are huge, their expectations are huge. And even if the team is as big as anything, you will be having a lot of work on your plate every day. So in an MNC, my usual work hours used to be at around, I used to reach office by around 10 in the morning. I used to leave by 7:30 or 8 in the evening. By that point of time, I used to complete all my work for that day and log off to my system. But coming to a law firm, that was a whole different ball game altogether. In this law firm where I work right now, I go by around 9:30 in the morning, and there's no dedicated time when I come back. It may be at around, the earliest I come back is around 9 or 9:30 in the night. And if the deliverables are there, urgent deliverables, then you may have to stay the whole night in the office. So yes, law firm structure is quite different from what the MNC structure is. But yes, in a law firm, you work on very different aspects of law. It's not only restricted to contracts or taxation or compliance. You get work on anything and everything, starting from Companies Act to corporate restructuring and every single thing which you can dream of. So this is a different thing altogether. It is tough, but then again, if you want to get into law firm, be ready to get into a roller coaster, right? From the very first day itself.
All right. Prakash, this is specifically in terms of your previous question. I want to do mention this that HUL, as a matter of policy from the last year onwards, they are not really taking a non-national law university student as an intern. So, in case you are from one, then you might want to consider applying at Hindustan Times instead. All right, Amir. Amya, my question is that when you are looking at, because you've appeared for both an MNC and a law firm's interview, although I know for a fact that MNC interview might have been little slightly different because end of the day you were coming without an experience. However, in a law firm you had certain experience and you were being questioned around the same. How different is the interview procedure? How different is approaching the interviewer for getting an interview set up in both the cases?
See, in an MNC, you have to go without any prior internship experience. Suppose if you don't have an internship experience with MNC, you go directly with your CV. But then again, in all these 5 years, ensure that you have certain internship experience, a mix of internships in an MNC as well as a law firm. Because if you suppose after working with the MNC, you plan to shift to a law firm, and obviously when you approach the law firm, you have to send your CV along with a properly drafted cover note to the partner or to the HR of that law firm. After your application gets selected, you will be directly sitting in front of the partner or the principal associate, according to the structure of that organization. They will be they will be expecting you to know each and every single thing, as I said, mentioned in your CV, plus the work you did in your last organization, whether it was an MNC or a law firm. Now, in the interview of MNC, there will be specific questions on contracts, on compliances. But when you get into a law firm's interview, it's not only restricted to contracts. It goes out of the way from contracts to Companies Act to specific relief act to limitation act, insolvency. Every single thing which you have mentioned in the CV, along with there are certain basic laws which you should be very specific about it. You should have hands-on knowledge about it, starting from Contract Act, Companies Act, Transfer of Property Act, Limitation Act, Specific Relief Act. These 5 things are very important when you go out for an interview with a law firm, because this thing goes in and around every single day. You'll be getting things to work on delving around these laws only every single day, apart from other works. So when you go out for a law firm's interview, be sure that you know bit and bit clearly about all these laws. Apart from that, be thorough with your CV.
So in both the cases, you're saying that your CV does have a certain value and
Indeed,
in mostly
indeed.
questions. Okay.
Yes, totally right.
All right, Amya, we want you to make a quick comparison between the most difficult tasks that you've taken in an MNC job versus the most difficult job you've taken in a law firm. And also go ahead and tell us about the easiest job in an MNC versus an easiest job in a law firm for our viewers to draw a nexus as to how relaxed is an MNC culture or work to versus how difficult is a law firm work style.
Basically, the toughest job I had in the MNC was draft a legal opinion for a client sitting in the United Kingdom. It was on one of the specifics of Anti-Bribery Act, which is quite different from what we follow in India. So I had to draft a legal opinion going through that act, and that act, like Aditya, it's too huge to be read upon in a single night. And I had only one day to give the legal opinion to the client. And it was very tough for me to go through the whole act, draft a legal opinion. And the very next day, I had to get into a call with that person who was not from the legal profession. He was from a management perspective. So making him understand the specifics of the law was the toughest thing I had to do, because I had to deliver the document after getting it reviewed from that person, from this client. The client's name, which I can't take right now because that's confidential, no doubt. So I had to make him understand each and everything I had mentioned in that opinion. That was the toughest thing. And on top of it, my legal director was sitting on my head asking me to send the document because the timeline is near, and he has to report to his boss. So it was like very tough for me to manage both the things, manage the client on one hand, manage the director on the other. So that was the toughest thing I had to do, and that thing will come up most of the days if you work on in an MNC. In a law firm, that such things never comes like in alternate days. We have to face all such kind of situation every single day, every single hour. We have this pressure from our team, from the partner, from the client to get the deliverables done, to get the deliverables set right. So the toughest job, as much as I remember, was the same on the same aspect when the client cropped up out from nowhere. He came at around 8:30 in the night, asked us to draft a petition that has to be filed the very next day in the court. And that petition was like all the correspondences was somewhere running around some 500 to 600 pages. And we had to review all those documents, draft a petition, file it in the next day in the court. So that was like a 24 hours work for me without any sleep, without any proper food, or without any proper rest. That was the toughest job. And one of the easiest job in an MNC was the induction day when I was inducted to the organization. That was a chilled out day for me. I was just going through all those PPTs driven out by the HRs. And in law firm, there's no such definition of easy day. It is going to be tough, very, very tough. But you have to adjust and you have to have the patience to go through the whole realistic view of the law, to be honest.
I mean, you said that in an MNC you can manage your work life versus your personal life together,
Right,
wherein in a law firm you possibly cannot.
right.
Given the circumstances, what would you prefer? 6 months of an MNC versus 6 months of a law firm, and what is your future plan?
Any day, I'll rather prefer 6 months in the law firm because working in this law firm, I was not restricted. Rather, to be very honest with you, MNC also didn't restrict me to a specific kind of work. They gave me a lot. This MNC gave me a lot of opportunity to outgrow myself within those 6 months. But when I came to a law firm, that was a whole different structure for me. I was indulged into transactions, litigations, disputes, arbitrations. It was a whole new game for me altogether, where I got this learning every single day. There was something new to learn every single day I went to the office. When I came back from the office, I had this peaceful sleep that okay, fine, I learned something which will definitely help me a lot going forward. So 15 years down the line, not five, as I'll say, 15 years down the line, 15 years I'm planning to stay in the law firm culture, get
Amir, we lost you there.
planning
Hello,
to get
are you there?
hello, yeah. Can you listen to me?
Yeah, yeah, better. Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
So 15 years down the line, I want to stay here 15 years in this law firm culture. I know I'll be like, totally frustrated with all the work I'm getting for the next 15 years. I'll be bruised. I'll be batted up, belted by my seniors. No doubt in that. But 15 years down the line, I'll have that much of experience that I can stand out on my own. And I'm planning to get down into legal academia after 15 years, so that whatever experience I have gathered in all these years, I can at least impart those to the upcoming generation. Because tomorrow, 15 years down the line, the students will be the budding lawyers. They should know the real gap between the law firm culture as well as the college culture, which we have come out recently.
All right, Amia. I think great thoughts, and wish you all the luck for all that you get into.
Thank
Be
you
it a
so much,
law firm,
Aditya.
be it an MNC, be it you getting into academia. I think all of it. You will be great with what you do, and I know that for a fact. All the very best. Thank you so much for joining us on An Hour with LawSikho. I hope you had a great time, and
Indeed.
I hope to see you again on one of our episodes in days to come. Probably
Sure.
talking something about dispute resolution for all you know.
Surely, definitely. The pleasure has been
Uh,
all mine, Aditya.
all right, Amia. With this, we come to an end of yet another amazing episode of An Hour with LawSikho. I am Aditya. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tomorrow, we'll be joined up with Abhyuday Agarwal, who will be again talking about one aspect of a law firm that you probably didn't know about and how to be that successful law firm lawyer. Yes, we have Abhyuday Agarwal with us tomorrow, 8 to 9, only on An Hour with LawSikho. I'm Aditya. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to press the bell icon and have a great, great evening ahead. Till then, our LawSikho.